Lost my music.
Tunes. What are we playing? You know this blue mat keeps moving that way? Have you seen how far over it is? How does that work?
Alright, let's roll. I don't know what it's called.
Wow, up there at 7:35.
Fez, Vinny. Hey, Ron.
Hey, Shane.
Brocky. Hey, Brocky. How was trout fishing?
Hello, Ned. How are you?
Okay.
How many have we got? 10?
10's enough.
We need to have 10. I'm not starting until we have 10.
There's 10.
Is there?
Yep. Shane says hi.
Hey, mate.
Sam
Hey.
says hello.
Who's that?
Sam.
Hello, Sam. Hey, Shane, those crabs your time, man. Unbelievable. Wow. I might be subcontracting my flies out to you shortly. What do you reckon? I can retire.
Brett, what's on the menu tonight?
Coffee. Who's
I
that?
think they're saying get on with it.
Oh, really?
No, I'm just kidding.
Oh, okay, what's on the menu tonight? Last week I probably got a bit excited and said we're going to do spoon flies tonight, but I changed my mind. So, I'm probably not ready for the spoon just yet.
Sorry, Sam. No spoon tonight.
Sorry, Sam, you're going to have to wait for the spoon.
Hi, Dad.
Hello, Peter, how are you? So, tonight, so we brought week 11's forward to week number 10, or not week, but episode number 10. So, we're going to continue with the shrimp theme, and why not? Everything eats a shrimp, doesn't it? Apparently. So, this is, well, that's a discussion we had yesterday, wasn't it, Shane? Everything eats a shrimp, especially in our lake. Anyway.
Pretty much.
Pretty much. Anyway, this is what we're tying tonight. So a few people messaged me through the week saying, I want to know how to use the Easy Shrimp 2.0 legs. So that's why the spoon got bumped. Due to popular demand, people want to see these. So anyway, that's what we're tying. So that's the bottom profile.
Hang on, let me see if I can. It's going to be a shocker tonight, everyone. Yeah.
Okay.
That's as
That's
good
the
as it
bottom
gets.
profile. And then there's the side profile. So I call this one,
Come on with me tonight.
I call
Sorry.
this one the versatile shrimp.
Okay, chuck it down. That's
Okay.
fine.
Anyway,
There it is.
there it is, everyone. So it's the versatile shrimp. So it's a pretty easy sort of tie again. Versatile because it appeals to a lot of species, so that's why I named it the versatile shrimp. I fish it for bream over the weed beds actually. So in about 1.5 to 2 meters of water where there's a weed bed, I like to fish this fly with a sort of consistent kind of retrieve, consistent bumpy kind of retrieve, almost so that this fly is just skimming the top of the weed, so to speak. So like that, and it fishes really well for the bream. But you know, we've talked about profile and that sort of thing on the past episodes of this, and it holds that same profile, but it has these little, instead of having like your traditional rubber leg, it has those little Easy Shrimp 2.0 legs on them. So I'm just running my bodkin through those, and you can see how soft they are. But they pulse a little bit in the water as you're retrieving them, and those little pulses of the legs kick out those little vibrations, and that's what bring the fish in. So the most common question I get about these is, do they foul your leader when you're casting and that sort of thing? And you can see by, you know, how soft that is, that's absolutely not, that they don't tangle one bit. You know, and this is the 2.0 version. The 1.0 version was a bit squarer. These ones are angled forward. So the 1.0 was a little bit thicker and possibly some issues with tangling leaders with those legs. Good for a crab fly actually, the 1.0s, but they don't do them anymore. So this is the new one.
What are they, Sam? Are they rubber?
They're like a silicone, Sam, to tell you the truth. So they're kind of stretchy. You can colour them with a marker. They take coloration if you wanted to put some barring in them. You can actually pull them pretty hard, and they don't break till I probably break one on camera, but I don't want to break this one. This one's going in a kit. So they're actually pretty robust. So anyway, that's the fly. So we'll keep tying. I don't know whether we're going to break any records tonight. Last week was a record. Almost 200 people on last week, so thanks very much for that. And a real quick shout out to, I know at the end of last week I threw out an emergency alert to get the scud dub in. So thanks to everybody who sent me scud dub during the week. I've been able to punch some orders this week just because of that. So you're very, very generous, and I really, really appreciate it. So thanks so much. Okay. But anyway, on to tonight's tie. Hopefully you've been tying discos all week from last week's session. So we're going to start with a hook.
Can't find your hook.
Somebody didn't get a new packet of hooks off the wall.
Empty.
Anyway, NS156 in the size 6. Okay. I've got a couple of packs in stock now, and I should have a lot of stock by the end of the week, to tell you the truth of that one. So you need a packet of those. You need some legs. Easy Shrimp 2.0. Now these come in 4 colours, so we're going to use olive tonight. They come in amber, they come in clear, they come in clear, and they come in hot orange as well. Okay, so any of those that take your fancy. We're going to use the ever reliable scud dub in olive. We're going to use some Easy Shrimp eyes. And for this particular fly, I actually prefer the glow in the dark eye. For whatever reason, the glow in the dark eye at that 1.5 to 2 meters tends to work pretty well. So I've stuck with it. And I've spoken about being an advocate for, you know, really bright eyes and that sort of thing on my brim flies. But on this one, for whatever reason, glow in the dark is the go. Okay. You're going to need some crystal flash, just like so. And I tend to prefer the coarser kind of brands. Tywell and Hairline make 2 really good crystal flashes in that it's a little bit thicker. If you like finer crystal flashes, then look at the Hens. Hens is a bit finer. We're going to need some EP fibre for the mouth parts. So you all know how much I love this. And if you don't have access to that, then a good backup would be that Semperfly Predator fibre. Is a really nice fibre for that purpose as well, and for building shrimp heads in all those normal colours, olives and tans. And for the wing, we're going to use some slinky fibre in the olive. My favourite colour for Tuggerah Lake's brim. And then the equipment that you'll need tonight is a pair of scissors, like so, your bodkin, your dubbing brush, like that, your dubbing container.
Haven't given it a clean.
It's getting worse every week. You'll need a little bit of super thin resin and your torch to set it, and then that's about it. Your vise, your bobbin loaded with 210 denier flat wax thread, and I'll explain why I use that particularly on these legs in a little while once I get to them. And you'll need some dumbbells of your choice, okay? So for this fly, I actually like the 532s in the black. These ones are done from Hairline, but we're getting some other ones in later in the week as well from the Lost Fly. Brent down there is restocking us this week, so they'll be in and on the website by the end of the week. Excuse me while I take a sip. Anyway, what I've done here, guys, is I've put my dumbbells on, roughly a dumbbell space back from the hook eye. Okay, so I've left a little bit of space here to attach the wing on at the end. Okay, a dollop of super glue under there. Oh. And I think by now you know what super glue that I like to use, which is this gear here. The Power Flex Loctite seems to be the one for me. You can get it at Bunnings, but I'm actually thinking of just putting it on our site just for convenience. For the guys, save your trip to Bunnings. I might do that during the week. I generally have a bit of it here. It's the most commonly one I use. Okay. So from there, I'm just going to advance my thread. Actually, I'm just going to move my hook forward a little bit into the front notch. Okay. I'm just going to advance our thread so it sits right above that barb, just there. Okay, you should be able to see that on the camera quite well. And again, if you've got questions, guys, please ask them away, and I'll do my best to answer them for you. So what we're doing here is getting a little clump of EP fibre. Just brushing out the super short pieces. And we're just going to put that on the top, tie that in like so. I've seen a lot of flies this week where we've been tagged in it too, guys, so keep tying, eh? I think we're about to get some relief from the lockdown, so the fish won't know what's going to hit them in the next couple of weeks. It's going to be
hectic.
It's going to be pretty full on. All these fresh flies that are in people's boxes. There's going to be some sore lips around. Okay, just like so, guys. Just the bottom of the mouth parts, like that. The easy shrimp eyes are going to go straight over the top of that. Just there. So right at the butt of where I've finished that EP fibre. And if you haven't tuned in before, what these are, they're a set of pre-molded eyes on a platform and even stalks. So they're called easy shrimp eyes. I've had them for about 7 years now as part of our range. And I've been tying with them for about 7 years. And it's as easy as putting shrimp eyes on like that. So position where you want them to be and bind them in. Just like so. So there's a ridged platform on one side and flat on the other. So your thread locks into them nice and easy. And the eyes are always perfectly positioned. Always in line. You don't have to worry about melting mono and that kind of thing. And like I say, these ones glow. So just like so. Okay. Then we're going to get a little piece of crystal flush. Just in the pearl. I tend to use pearl for 90% of my flies when it comes to shrimp flies. I just find that it's the right colour. It matches with all of the base colours, so to speak, in my opinion. You don't need too much of it. One piece folded over my thread and positioned down in between the centre of the eyes there. And you've got yourself a set of little antennas. And a tiny little bit of flash as well. We got any questions there? Or is there going to be a flurry at the end?
I can't see any.
No questions tonight?
I've said that before and there's been heaps. I can't see any.
No, it's a quiet crew. Quiet crew tonight.
Just chilling on a Sunday night.
Just chilling. Anyway, the brim should be starting to school up now, so this would be a good fly to do with a set of little lead dumbbells as well. Get them down into those deeper holes and annoy some brim to eat a lonely rogue shrimp.
Everyone's paying attention.
In the cooler months. Must be the dulcet tones of my voice. Anyway,
Mesmerised, Paulie says.
Mesmerised. Okay, so that's, you can see what I've formed up there, if Cherie can get that on the camera. Just a nice tapered prawn head. So a bit shorter on the bottom, a bit longer on the top, and a couple of crystal flash antennas out the front there. Okay, just like that. Okay, put that back in there. Now what I'm doing here, guys, with my thread, I want to build a really nice platform for the spine of the legs to sit on. Okay, so I'm just filling up the gaps that I've created from my thread work until it's reasonably even. You don't have to do that if you don't want to, but I just like having that uniformity and that consistency, and it just helps me to lay a better foundation with the dubbing that we're going to use as well. So from this point, this is how your legs come. Okay, just like so. So they're in this frame, so to speak. So you can see that you've got all your individual legs here, like so, and then a holding tab here, and then a little tail down here. Now I'm going to clip this out, but I'm not going to use the tail on this fly. So I'm going to cut it just above here and cut the holding tab just off here. And the reason why they do this, guys, is that so they don't get damaged in transit. So they come in, you would have seen it, they come in a pretty sturdy box like so. They're made in Denmark. And so when they come all the way from there to here, all around the world those guys ship, there's none of them that are ever damaged. So it's a great little concept. Be nothing worse than getting these legs in and they're all wonky. So just above that little molded piece of plastic, I'm just going to get my scissors in there and cut the frame away. All right, just like, and then cut just in front of that tail. And so what I'm left with is that. So I've got a tie-in point down here, the spine that I'm going to use to cover up all of the thread, and then there's a little tie-in tag at the front here. So we're going to end up clipping this big piece of silicone off, all right, towards the end. So with your hook point down, just tidy that little, with the hook point down, I lay the spine of the legs onto the platform of your thread, okay, and bind it in like so, just like that. Not super tight, but firm. And this is why I use 210 denier, guys, because it's, or 210 denier flat waxed, because it's nice and it's wide, and so that when you, particularly when you're using it on this fly, it doesn't pinch that spine down and fold the legs in too far. So if you're using, say, 70 denier or 140 or something like that, too much tension and too thin a thread will have that being pinched down inside of there. So a nice wide thread. Then in between of each leg, I put a couple of wraps. So you just got to work your thread around each leg, and you can see just with a bit of thread work there that, you know, you sort of make your way in between of them. And we're going to make our way forward up to here. Now at the tie-in point, I need to pull the rest of the legs back and just overhand my bobbin so I lock down that little tag right at the very, very front there. So there's, I don't know, probably 5 or 6 wraps on there, maybe 7. And then carefully with your fine point scissors, clip him off just like so. All right. And then just like that, we're just going to completely fill that, completely cover that little.
Okay, so those
tag
legs
up
at the front there,
Yes.
they don't get tied down. It's just those two at the back. Is that right?
Okay, so what I've done is I've tied my thread here at the tail base. I've put a couple of wraps through here, maybe 2 or 3. I've put a couple more wraps through here, maybe 3 or 4. You can keep them pretty even, guys. I was just probably put an extra couple in here as I was talking so you could see it. And then there's that big tag that we trimmed off. You pull these ones back just with your fingers. Pull them back like so. And you can see there where I've covered up that little tag with my threads right there. Okay. So then what you end up with is the set of legs on there just like so. Now,
there's a question, do you ever glue?
no, I don't, because there's enough thread there to do the job. Okay. So I don't need to put any glue on that spine at all. So from here, as a foundation, you've got some options, okay? So like I said, we're going to tie the Versatile, so that's got a dubbed body, right? But if you wanted to, you could, and I'll do this for another fly, like the resin version of this. I build that thread up a little bit more as I'm going back down towards the hook eye. And then I cover it in resin. I cover all that thread in resin and put a hot spot of fluoro resin in the belly there. Okay, and just that's the fly. So that's my resin shrimp. And you can change the colour of the eyes and that sort of thing to suit yourself. Or my good mate Shane that's watching tonight, he has been putting a dubbing brush through the centre here. Okay, so what we've been working on is using the 3/4 inch Enrico Puglisi shrimp brushes and working these through this part instead of dubbing. And that's creating actually a really nice fly. So there's an option there for you. Okay, so if you don't want a dub, you've got a 3/4 inch brush size that you can wind back through the legs in the same manner that I will do the dubbing. And then you can still comb it out and you'll still have that nice translucent shrimp kind of look. Or if you want an ultra slim kind of profile, you could build a bit of a resin case around that thread and you would have a nice resin shrimp, so to speak. Okay?
Fez says the brush is a good option.
Yeah. Mate, what you've done with that brush, mate, that's amazing. So well done, buddy. Seriously. You're tying some really, really nice flies, mate. It's good to see, actually. I'm really good, really happy for you.
So hey Drew, saw that salmon off the beach.
Hey Drew.
Envious. Going to be heading down there soon. Have you found the legs can affect the sinking of the shrimp or hook point up sinking?
Nah, it sinks that way. Okay, hook point up sinking so far. There's virtually no weight in those. So if you wanted to do a hook point down model, that's no issues at all. It's not going to affect the sink rate at all. And in fact, in Europe, most of the guys that tie in Europe use these legs in a hook point down fashion for their sea trout and that sort of thing. So there's probably not too many people that actually have the dumbbell on, but I just like the dumbbell, for that water column depth that we're fishing for the brim predominantly and for the estuary perch and that sort of thing. So that's why I tie a lot of my shrimps with the hook point up, so to speak. But yeah, overseas, I'd say more than 90% of them are tied with hook point down and those legs tied in on this part of the spine, so the hooks hang, so the legs point down over that hook point, so to speak. All right. Hopefully that was you can interpret that. Anyway, we're gonna dub just because I love it. Just gonna get. Generally, I don't put a egg sac into this fly, but you could. Okay, just with a bit of bright orange dubbing. I've got some here just in case I feel like it once I get there. Just to
See what happens.
see what happens.
Christian. Christian, the hooks are the Arex NS156 size 6.
Just here, mate. If you can read that label. That's the one that you want. Okay, and if you can't get access to that, the Partridge CS54 is another good shrimp hook, just as an option for you, mate. Okay, now when I dub, I need to pull these little legs, the front little legs back a little bit, so I can get the little dubbing ball in behind the mouth parts and underneath those front little legs there, just like so. So you can see by what I'm doing there, I'm actually putting a little ball of dubbing under there so the legs become just a little bit more prominent as well. Ooh, got some stragglers on my dubbing tonight.
That's the most feral looking dubbing.
Who said that?
Does everyone's dub look like that?
Oh, just mine. Sorry guys, I did a lot of dubbing work today, tying up raw prawns and that sort of thing, so, you know, I just didn't have time to clean it. I've got new dubbing sticks coming, so I'll get a fresh one out for the ties in the future. Might look a bit more professional though. Okay.
Just keeping it real.
Just keeping it real.
Oh, are people having, there seems to be people having some internet issues with tonight's feed.
Wow. We've melded the servers down.
Might have to watch this in a story later. Internet is lagging. Same problem here. Have to keep signing in and out.
Ooh.
That's okay. We'll put it up on the feed.
It'll be up on the feed, guys, for 24 hours. So if you can't see it tonight, then
It's only Townsville.
it's one of those things.
The dub wax that it is, it's the hairline one, isn't it?
It is, yeah.
Yeah. What's
That normally says
touch dub wax?
yeah, hairline touch dub wax.
Yeah.
That's the travel tube. We're getting more of these in.
Yeah. In about a week, I think.
Plus, we're getting a large tube in, which is about that sort of big. Okay. That's coming, yeah, in about a week's time, guys.
Hey, it's good in Helensburgh, good in Tassie.
Oh, perfect. Stay tuned.
No good in Townie.
Townsville. Now, in amongst all the talking, I already forgot about my orange egg sac. So if I was going to put it on, guys, I would have put it just here in this, right in between of those legs there. So not in the first set, because that's where the ball of dubbing is, but in between number 2 and number 3, I would have put some orange right there. Okay, but like I say, on this fly, for whatever reason, I don't know whether it's just the glow eyes. I haven't found that I've needed to add any other hot spots or triggers, so to speak. Okay, and if you don't like green or olive, and some people don't, and in some waterways olive doesn't suit, then tie it up in tan. You know, so tan mouth parts, and I'd still be using that glow eye. And then the tan legs, and then some tan dubbing or brush.
Tied up in pink.
Tied up in pink.
Colour in the clear legs.
Yeah, put some clear legs on it. Okay, so we're just working the dubbing in between of those legs there, all right? This is going to be a quick tie tonight, guys. I'm almost done. Last week was almost an hour, or was an hour. We got kicked off with seconds to spare. Okay. And a little bit just to fill in that little tail, section, just like so. So if you have a look at that fly now, really what I've done is create a bit of a belly with it. It's not too tightly wrapped, as you would have seen from going through the dubbing process. And then from there, I'm just going to tease some of these fibres out. Might have to declog my dubbing brush. Oh, wow.
You should send that to Shan, those leftovers.
Shan on tonight?
Oh, I haven't seen Shan tonight, no.
Oh, Shan's brushed me. I spoke with Shan today. He's busy, man, that guy. He's got some stuff going on in the pipeline. Jeez, it's good. Anyway.
Christian, who asked about the hooks before, is in Denmark.
Oh, hi, Christian. How are you?
Bit of a hike.
Thanks for joining us from Denmark. So you would have seen these easy shrimp legs over there. Probably a fair bit, I would be imagining. All right. So you can see what I've done there, guys. I've brushed the fibres, you know, sort of out from the top like I normally do, and then brushed them out from underneath the legs, and then underneath those mouth parts as well. So you can any of the real long stragglers under the belly section there, you can just give those a clip up with your scissors. Okay. All right, we'll roll him back over. Is there any more questions there that I need to get on top of?
Yep. Is this going to go onto YouTube?
I'm not sure whether this one will. At the moment, we're actually pretty busy tying flies and that sort of thing at the moment. So what happens with YouTube is that if this video is good enough to go on, then we'll upload it. But generally what we find is that we get messages and that throughout this, and it interrupts the sound quality once we save the video from the live feed. So
yeah, it's pretty...
It just depends. There's
pretty amateur.
And there's been a few people that have asked me about other ones that are yet to go on that I committed to, and at the moment, guys, it's just time, you know, honestly. So we've got a whole list of stuff to do, and we're trying to get through it as best we can, as well as fulfilling our tying orders and that sort of stuff too. So there's a bit there. Okay, so what I've done there is get a little clump of slinky fibre and given it a bit of a taper. Okay, so I might tie it on that way. Yeah, that looks pretty good. Then we're just going to position that on top of that little platform that we left from the dumbbell eyes, bind that down.
Do the legs just come in one size?
Yeah.
Would they work down to size 10?
Ooh.
Size 10.
Size 10. Size 10 might be a little bit small, I would imagine, unless you're going to clip one of the legs off, like the back legs, and have a six-legged shrimp. You know, that would be an option, because then you would be reducing the spine length as such. So yeah, that's an option.
Where do you normally fish these shrimpies?
I normally fish them in Tuggerah Lakes, is where I normally fish them, or any of the dark water lakes. So we've got a few systems around here that hold a few bream, and like I said at the start, anywhere that I'm sort of in that 1.5 to 2 meters or 2.5 meters of water with a weed bed below me, that's where I like to fish this fly. In our lakes, the water's quite green and the weed is quite dark, and then therefore the shrimp inside of there are also quite dark in colour, and that's why this fly works well for us. But if you're in a clear water system, then I'd be tying it up in tan instead of the olive. Okay. And so just with a little bit of fine tuning, we're almost done. Okay, so over the back, I'm just going to get the UV resin. This is the Raid Zap Thin, this stuff. I'm going to put a little bead of that. You can see what I'm doing with that. I'm letting that soak into that slinky fibre wing. All right. And I'm covering the threads under the dumbbell that are exposed and around that head. Okay. And what I do is I give that a little bit of a, oh, sorry guys. I just give that a little bit of a push down, that slinky fibre, just to get that resin soaked into the fibres, and then hit it with the torch. Okay. And then we will just turn that over.
Tan for Foster.
Yeah, definitely in the clear water. Definitely. But down the back, I'd be going this colour right here. This olive colour. So you might be able to see those little glowing eyes on the front. So they're different. They're different to the fluorescent green and different to the kryptonite green. So I actually used the resin version that I explained earlier after a flood with these glow in the dark eyes. So the water's a bit brown, a bit discoloured. And there we go. And then what you end up with, guys, as long as there's nothing left to do, maybe just there, just drag a couple more fibres out. And then maybe just trim these really long. There's a couple of rogue slinky fibres off the front there. Okay, and then what you end up with, guys, is that, which is my versatile shrimp. So versatile in the species that you can chase with it, and versatile in its tying application. So not only in colour, but as I explained earlier, you can put a brush through the middle of it. You could cover it in resin and turn it into a resin shrimp as such. You could incorporate a Pro Sport fisher shell over the back of it and the legs and some resin. You know, so it has
a couple of cozies.
It has a good foundation for building shrimps. And then if you look at that profile, that's pretty much spot on for a lake prawn, so to speak. All right, and then you have those little legs out the bottom there that just, when you're giving that fly the strip or the movement through the water, those legs just kick. All right, and just send out those little vibrations that fish hone in on with their lateral lines and their other sensors that they pick up on.
Let me go back. Travis says, do you fish it on an intermediate sinking line when you're in a couple of metres?
Yeah, I do. I fish it.
And then there's also one, how do you strip these? So
All right, so I'll answer the line question first. So when I'm in 1.5 meters and deeper, I generally fish a intermediate tipped clear intermediate tipped line with a floating running line. So the one that I use is the Cortland Compact in the 5.6, but there's a whole other bunch of brands out there that do that kind of line as well. So what that has, it has a 15-foot clear head, and that clear head sinks at 1.1 to 1.5 inches per second. And then it's got a floating running line. So when I need to reposition the fly, I'm not dragging a full intermediate line out of the water as such. So the clear intermediate head that sinks gives me a nice direct contact with that fly. So the fly sinks down, the head of the fly line sinks down, and then I've got from my loop knot, my leader, and on this fly I normally use a 7 to 9 foot leader, and it gives me that direct contact with that fly rather than having a floating line with a reverse belly, so to speak, down to the fly. How do I strip the fly? It depends. It depends on the fish's mood, but really, I cast as far as I can. I'm not a great caster, but just get the fly out there as far as I can, and I let it sink a little bit. But as it sinks, I'm just bumping the fly line just a little bit, so that as the fly sinks, it sort of moves a little bit. Like fly sinking, and then just touch that line and bump, bump, bump. And then when it's at the depth that I want, it's really just, like a 10 to 15 or 20 centimetre dunk, strip, pause, strip, pause, strip. So that fly is just sort of gliding across the top of a weed bed. And then every now and then, I just throw in a couple of quick bumps, bump, bump, just to get it to skip a little bit. So if there is a fish that's in the area and it's picked the fly up, those 2 or 3 quick bumps can often be the trigger that the fish needs to eat that fly rather than just, looking at it, mooching around behind it. So because it's not sight fishing as such, you kind of need to mix your retrieves up a little bit, and you're going to need to work on the variables. So the variables are how long the pause are, how quick the retrieve is, how long the retrieve is, how many quick bumps. Is it 2? Is it 3? Is it back to back quick bumps, like bump bump and a pause and then bump bump? So you got to keep mixing it up, but that's a starting point.
Question about the legs. Do they make the legs in glow like they do the eyes?
These, they don't glow, but they're called super fluorescent white as such. So whereas the glow eyes hold the glow factor a little bit, these are still UV reactive, okay, in the white, but you might be able to see that. Can you see that?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Okay, so they're not just sort of just a clear piece of silicone, they've actually got some UV reaction about them as well. All right.
Are these going to be available in kit?
Yeah. I've actually assembled the versatile kit this afternoon, and it's actually on our website already. So I built 2 the Savo. This is the fly for the second kit. So there's 2 there now. And before we went live, Shrew and I were talking about what we're going to do probably tomorrow, to tell you the truth, is that these come in boxes of 6, okay? But what we're going to do is split down some boxes, so that in a box, and we'll put these on. So for those people that just want to give them a go, but they don't want to buy 6 olive, so we're going to break a couple of these down, so you'll get a box that looks like, should have prepared one earlier. So you get a box that looks like this. I don't know where my clears went. There we go. Okay. So it'll be like a 3 multi-pack. So there'll be 2 olive, 2 amber, and 2 clears in the one box.
Mm-hmm.
So we've got a bit of stock of this, and we want people to be using them. So rather than having to buy 3 different colours and 18 legs, that's going to be a trial pack, okay, of the 3 most popular shrimp sort of colours. So that'll go onto our site, no doubt. Absolutely by close of trade tomorrow, okay?
Mm-hmm. Shane says the Pro Shell, top idea.
Yeah. There's a little secret for you, Shane.
What about poundage for the leader? What pound leader did you say you're running?
For the brim in dark water, I normally am about that sort of 6, 7, 8 sort of pound mark. Obviously the lighter the better, and if you can get away with going lighter than that, down to 5 or down to 4, then go for it. I think that 6 to 8 is a good kind of balance. So I'd probably start off at 8 and see what the bite's like, and if I'm not getting anything or any fish response, then I'd drop it to 6, okay, at the tip. So 7 to 9 foot of a tapered leader, down to 8. And if that doesn't work, I'd cut 2 foot of 8 off and replace it with 2 foot of 6. All right.
Yep. I just like fishing. Says he's going to make an attempt with what he's got.
Okay. Perfect.
Have a crack tomorrow.
Yeah, have a crack. Yeah,
That'd be
that's
cool.
what it's about. Have a go. Have a go with it.
That's about it.
That's it? Okay. All right. No other questions?
No.
We're all done. So that's the versatile shrimp, guys. Thanks very much for watching again tonight. There's a kit available on the website now. There's 2 of them available there. I built some other kits yesterday, and we've got some stock coming to build some other kits. So in due course, they'll be built and put on the site as well.
Sam says, what's next week?
Okay, next week, guys. Next Sunday is Mother's Day. So we're taking a break from the live. So we think that maybe you should be spending some time with your family, probably a bit more important than spending time with me at this point in time, and particularly at this time slot. So spoons down the track, guys. I'm not quite ready for the spoon thing just yet, so but it's coming. I need some stock of hooks and that sort of thing to do it justice, so I've just got to get some equipment in, and then once we have it, then I'll do it. And it's a bit like the crab, the crab sort of thing. Once we get the crab shells in, then we'll do a crab tying vid and that sort of thing. So I think I've spoken about it before, but the stuff coming into the country at the moment is pretty slow. Some of it's taking, a month and a half to get here from the day that you place your order. So, once we're out of this COVID thing, then things will quicken up and it'll be a lot better, but we've just got to do with what we've got at the moment. But anyway, so next week we're taking the week off from doing this one, but we'll definitely be back the following Sunday night. I don't know what the date is, maybe the 11th or thereabouts. Back at 7:30. I'm undecided as to what it's going to be just yet, because that's 2 weeks away now. It's a long time away. All right. But keep tying. Keep tagging us in your ties. I love it. I've seen all sorts of stuff this week. Shrimps, discos, crabs, poppers. It's been good. I really appreciate it. Hopefully that you guys are getting something out of this, and you can see how many shrimps I fish, because I keep tying shrimps on these live demos, so...
You don't get to see the screen, but everyone, so many people say hi, so many people say thanks. There's so many,
Nice.
really, really nice comments. And
Awesome.
I'd be interrupting you all the time if I said them all, but...
Yeah, thank you for
there's
that.
heaps of nice
we
stuff
really
on there.
appreciate it. So, yeah, I don't see the screen, guys. So Cherie sees the screen, just in case you haven't tuned in before. I'm not looking at the screen. My job is to tie and talk and hopefully explain it so that you guys can pick up those tips and for what I do and for how I tie. So what you see is how I tie my flies. There's nothing changed for this, So if you can pick up some of those little tips to improve your own tying, building your own confidence, fishing your own flies, then happy days. That's part of the journey of fly. That's what it's about.
Like Mike said, he'd have no good flies if it wasn't for you.
That's
I'm
good.
sure they'd be okay.
I'm sure they'd be fine, man. I'm sure they'd be fine. So, anyway, Cherie's giving me the Cherie's giving me the director's wrap it up. We're out.
Wrap it up.
Okay. Thanks, guys. Keep tagging us and keep tying. I look forward to seeing your pics throughout the week. Cheers and thank you.
Thank you. See ya.
Bye-bye.
Bye. Oh, hang on. A question come through at the end. Do you sell a full kit to get started? I think we're still live.
Oh, we're still live.
Yeah.
Okay.
Do you sell a full kit to get started? I think you said you've got two kits available at the
I've
moment.
got 2 kits for the versatile shrimp in stock.
Just head to BWCflies website.
Oh, there we go.
It's on your coffee cup.
Just there. Oh, there
Yeah.
we go. It's all happening. And there's a few other kits in stock there as well. Go to the self-tie kits page. Okay, that's where they're at. And if they're in stock, you can add them to the cart. And if not, then like I explained earlier, they're waiting for me to get bits and pieces in. All right. Wow. There we go. Is there any more questions? My coffee's getting cold.
That's it. Thanks, everyone.
Thank you.
See you.
Cheers.